The Floowandereeze Archetype. At the North Pole, a group of birds known as the Floowandereeze terns are getting ready to go on their biggest migratory journey yet. A near 20,000 mile round trip that will take them from the North Pole in the Arctic Circle all the way down to the South Pole in the Antarctic. And so, as the weather starts to become unbearably cold during the dark Arctic winter, the Floowandereeze terns arm themselves with a magnificent map that shows them the twists and turns of their journey and the winds that will take them through all the summer seasons across the globe and eventually end up at their destination on the other side of the world. With the help of the Floowandereeze snolls, they pack up their bags and set off on their long flight across the globe. We start our journey following the winds to Europe, with a quick stop at England's Big Ben, where they meet and sing together with Floowandereeze Rabina. Next, they fly across the North Atlantic Ocean. However, the journey is not smooth, as this sea is a scary one to cross. However, it was all worth it, as they arrived next in North America, flying through New York's giant skyscrapers alongside the bold and the brave Floowandereeze Eglin. Following the southern wind now, they travel next to South America, where a pit stop in the Amazon rainforest grants an opportunity to have a snack with the colourful Floowandereeze Token. After another long flight, this time across the South Atlantic Ocean, the trio lands in Africa, where one of the group decides to pull a prank on their companions with the help of a not-so-friendly Floowandereeze Stree. Finally, it's time for the long final flight across the Southern Ocean. However, before taking flight, the three reminisce on all the adventures and friends they have met along the way. This last flight is a long one. So long, in fact, a quick nap in the night sky is required. But after persevering, they finally arrive in Antarctica and are greeted at the South Pole by the Floowandereeze Empen. And so, this concludes the Floowandereeze advent of adventure. Was there more stops on this adventure? Were there other birds met along the way? Only more support will tell, but for the time being, that is the tale. The Floowandereeze Archetype are a purely wind and water series of winged beast type monsters that were first introduced in the 2021 pack Burst of Destiny. Their name of Floowandereeze is a mashup of three words: Flu, Wander, and Breeze. In-game, the archetype is all about normal summoning, a mechanic in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game that you can normally only do once per turn. However, with these birds, you can normal summon multiple times per turn. And with some of their support cards, you can even normal summon during the opponent's turn. This archetypal mechanic of non-stop normal summoning, even during the opponent's turn, is a reference to how the Arctic tern that this story follows spends almost their entire lives in the air, since they are always on the move. They even eat and sleep mid-flight, symbolizing how this deck is always in motion. With this in mind then, I imagine that this was how Konami thought the Floowandereeze archetype would feel like to play against.
Aww, how cute.
However, in actuality, this is what it really feels like. Yes, there's something really ironic about these tiny little birds with their cute, stylish artworks and wholesome story being an absolute monster to play against, and a deck that honestly can frustrate a lot of opponent players. But you might be asking, well, why is that? Well, it's because when you're playing against a Floowandereeze deck, your turn, it's not really your turn. As a Floowandereeze player would say, it's our turn. Watch this. Ready? I'm gonna go to like a zoo or an aviary or something. All these birds will be flying around me. I'm gonna get like Vietnam flashbacks. No! I hate them. I hate them so much. The Floowandereeze monsters come as either level 1s or level 10s. The level 1s represent the journey. And every single level 1 Floowandereeze monster shares the archetypal ability that, while face up on the field, if they would leave the field, banish them instead. However, you cannot special summon during the turn you activate one of these effects. If they are normal summoned, you can activate their unique effect, and then immediately after that, you can normal summon one winged beast monster again. Also, if you summon a winged beast monster while one of the Floowandereezes are banished, you can add it back to your hand. The level 10 Floowandereeze monsters act as the win conditions of the deck, as they are the ones with the most attack power and have the ability to disrupt how the opponent might normally play. Ironically, these two monsters represent the start and the end of the Floowandereeze journey. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at each of the individual monsters, see what their unique effects are, and what real-world Avian they are based on. Let's start first with Floowandereeze and Robina. Based on the European Robin, this monster's unique effect is, if it is normal summoned, you can add a level 4 or lower winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. And then, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. Floowandereeze and Egglen. Based on the Bald Eagle, its unique effect is, if this card is normal summoned, you can add one level 7 or higher winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. Notice that these two monsters are quite flexible on what you can add. Despite the fact all of the Floowandereeze monsters are level 1s, you can add a level 4 or lower winged beast to your hand with Robina. The same for Egglen. You can add a level 7 or higher winged beast monster. What this means is you can play some out of archetype winged beast monsters. Some notable monsters typically played with these are Barrier Statue of the Storm Winds, which is absolute nightmare fuel. Now I can't even special summon. I hate him. I hate him so much. Riser the Mega Monarch to ruin your opponent's field. Or Mist Valley Apex Avian in order to negate your opponent's plays. Watch this. Ready? I activate the effect of my Aruha. Maybe he'll let me. Just maybe. No. Getting back to the monsters, we have Floowandereeze and Stree. Based on the Ostrich, its unique effect is, when it is normal summoned, you can target one card in either graveyard. Banish it, then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. Floowandereeze and Token. Based on the Toucan, its unique effect is, if this card is normal summoned, you can target one of your banished Floowandereeze cards, add it to your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. After getting enough of these level 1s out, it's time to advance out of our normal summons into tribute summons. This is done in order to get out the level 10 boss monsters. So far, there are only two. At the start, we have Floowandereeze and Snowl. Based on the Snowy Owl, its effect is, once per turn, if you control this tribute summon card, you can conduct up to 3 normal summons or sets this turn. While this tribute summoned card is in the monster zone, if your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Once per opponent's turn. Quick effect, you can banish one card from your hand, change all special summon monsters your opponent controls to face down defense. At the end of the journey, we have Floowandereeze and Empen. Based on the Emperor Penguin, its effect is, if this card is tribute summoned, you can add a Floowandereeze spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one monster. While this tribute summon monster is on the field, your opponent's special summoned monsters in attack position cannot activate their effects. If this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can banish one card from your hand. That opponent's monster's current attack and defense becomes halved until the end of the turn. Now, of course, a deck wouldn't be complete without its support cards. And for this archetype, we have, to start with, the field spell, Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. Its effect is, during the main phase, you can reveal one level 1 Floowandereeze monster in your hand and banish one Floowandereeze card with a different name from your deck. Then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon the revealed monster. If your opponent normal summons a monster, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one Floowandereeze monster. This ability to summon after your opponent summons is crucial for a Floowandereeze deck, as it is essential to allow the player to make moves during the opponent's turn in order to disrupt the opponent's combos. And notice in this card's artwork on the map, you can actually see all the places the monsters visit, with references to iconic landmarks for each one. For example, we have a Pine Tree for Greenland, which is for Floowandereeze and Snoll, a Clock Tower for England for Floowandereeze and Robina, a city for North America for Floowandereeze and Eglen, a river for South America for Floowandereeze and Token, a Adansonia Tree for Africa for Floowandereeze and Stree, and finally a penguin for Antarctica for Floowandereeze and Empen. So it's pretty obvious that getting this field spell to the hand is a must, and an easy way to do that is with the Archetype's Quick Play spell, Floowandereeze and the Advent of Adventure. Its effect is by banishing one winged beast monster from your hand or face up from your field. You can add a Floowandereeze monster or Floowandereeze field spell from your deck to your hand, and then gain 500 life points. Now, sometimes you just might not have enough monsters on the field to summon your bigger monsters, so perhaps a powerful card that acts as a continuous soul exchange for the deck might be worth using, and that card is known as Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds. Its effect is you can conduct tribute summons that require 2 tributes by sending 1 monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls to the grave instead. During your main phase, you can reveal up to 2 winged beast monsters in your hand and place them on the bottom of the deck in any order. Then draw cards equal to the number of cards placed. Note that this card said you can tribute any card the opponent controls, meaning you don't have to tribute just monsters. You can get rid of their back row if you really want to. A very powerful effect. Now, maybe the opponent is getting wise to your plays, and when it's their turn, they choose not to normal summon in order to avoid your field spell's activation. Well, then I guess it's time to take things into our own hands. And to do that, we use Floowandereeze and the Dreaming Town. During the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 level 4 or lower winged beast monster. If you tribute summon a level 7 or higher while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card. Change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense. With this card, basically, you can get the ball rolling without having to wait for your opponent to make the first move. And in fact, this monster's artwork is a reference to how Arctic terns eat and sleep in the air when needed to, basically symbolizing how this deck is always on the move, even during the opponent's turn. Finally, we have one last card, a counter trap for the deck, which punishes opponents for relying too heavily on special summoning. This card is Floowandereeze and the Scary Sea. When your opponent would special summon a monster while you control a face-up tribute summoned monster and no special summon monsters, negate the summon, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. Also, for the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot special summon. However, they can conduct up to 3 normal summons or set this turn. And with that, that's the Floowandereeze archetype done. I've shown a lot of footage from Master Duel, and if you'd like to see me playing Master Duel, I have an entire channel dedicated to this. I'll leave a link on screen and down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, everybody. Catch you later.